Hello, welcome to Nixie's Notebooks. I am your host, and today is Quick Tip Monday. What I'm going to show you here today is how to thread embroidery floss or thread through some of your smaller beads. I do this, as you can see, I've done this on some of my flip throughs. If you look at some of the folders, I have the pages I put together, and this is where I'm trying to demonstrate it. I'm voicing this over because I forgot to hit record, again, like the 500th time I've done this. But what I'm trying to say there is, if you look at some of my flip throughs, some of the folders, they have embroidery floss with beads at the end. For a very long time, I was not being able to use more of my standard beads, the ones that where wires will fit through, but the holes are relatively small. And I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how to use these, because if you'll see here, we got a relatively small pinhole in the bead, but the needles don't seem to want to go through it, or needles that I can actually thread embroidery floss through. And I use the needle as a guide. It's hard to get embroidery floss or embroidery thread to do what you want. It's just not all that stiff. That's a regular sewing needle right there. Obviously I can't get embroidery floss through there. I mean, that will go through the hole, so if I wanted to use just regular thread, I could do it, but I like the look of embroidery floss. So what I did was, I found this is a bridge flosser. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, basically if you have a bridge in your mouth, you thread the floss through it and you pull it through your bridge, and then you can floss underneath your bridge. However, it's made of like a plasticky type material that kind of folds in on itself, so it's easy to pull through. So it's almost like a needle threader. It kind of has that kind of consistency where it'll kind of move a little bit. So this is the tag I'm going to work on, and I'm just going to do some embroidery up the side. You can already see where I punched out the holes. Not embroidery, just some stitching. I'm sorry, not embroidery. I haven't done embroidery yet. Maybe sometime in the future. But I'm just going to stitch some stitches up the side there. So I have taken the embroidery floss, looped it through the hole. I like to use double embroidery floss. I just think it holds up a little bit better. And the beads, as you can see here, the bead it actually pulls a little bit on the thread. It's very snug on the embroidery thread, which is good. That's what we kind of want. I'm just tying a knot there. Yes, my big hands are in the way. Sorry about that. I'm just tying a knot at the bottom there to keep the bead from slipping off. And I pulled it really tight there. So that bead is actually really snug on the thread, so I don't see it or foresee it actually slipping over the knot. That is what happens sometimes, and that's what my concern was, and that's why I wanted to use the smaller beads, because I figured they'd be a little bit more snug on the embroidery thread, and they are. And you can even use this to thread it through the rest of your project. So as you can see, I'm using it there. I am struggling a little bit because it's not as stiff as a needle, obviously, and I'm struggling a little bit too because I'm sitting away from it, and usually I pull that stuff up to my face to see it because I have bad eyesight, which I've told you guys about a million times now. So when it's finer work like this, I do struggle, and I do apologize that it does take me a little bit longer to do it. Now I'm just tying a little bit of a knot there, as you can see, because it will just kind of hold the thread there so it won't be slipping in and out of the holes or moving too much, because we are going to leave a little tail there for the beads to dangle off of. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap it around the edge on the outside. As you can see, I just kind of pull it right through. Works great. If you're looking for beads, and I mentioned this in the video, or while I thought I was recording the video, I mentioned this. A great place to get some beads, obviously, I'm going to say it, Goodwill, or a thrift shop. You look at the beading area, and you'll see, if you look closely, you'll see a lot of necklaces that have just a lot of beads on them and stuff. You can get those, cut those up, use the beads, use the charms, use everything with it, and you know, they make great findings for different projects that you might have. So next time you're in one and you're looking for some of that stuff, take a perusal. Can't guarantee you're going to find something every single time you go in there, or, you know, on your first try, but, you know, keep your eyes open. That is the thing with thrift shops and Goodwill. You do have to keep your eyes open and kind of watch what you're doing. So now, as you can see here, I have added the bigger bead first, and then the smaller bead will be after that. So I did it in reverse order this way, so that way I have the small beads still at the end. And I was just kind of pointing out there again, the beads are rather snug on the embroidery thread, which is good. That's what you want. You really don't want to move it around too much. So, and here I'm just talking. I don't know what I'm saying. I talk with my hands. It's awful. It makes it difficult to craft and talk at the same time, so I feel like I have to move my hands, but when you're wielding scissors, glue, and needles, sometimes that's not the best thing to do. So I'm just tying it up at the end here. Now you notice the bead just rolled away from me. I did mention here also, if you want to get a bead board, if you are interested in doing beads and using beads in your projects, I would heavily suggest you get a bead board. You don't even have to get one that's like a big one. You can just get a small one, and it'll just hold the beads for you in place. They're relatively inexpensive. You can get them at any of your big crafting stores. And again, they just kind of hold the beads in place so they aren't rolling all over the place. They have like little ridges in them. And there we go. I cut it off. And so I put it up here, and then I realized that I'm kind of covering the beads, and you can't really see because I don't know what I was thinking. So, and then of course here I'm like, oh wait, you can't see the bead, and then I put it down. Yeah, and now I'll go closer in so you can kind of see it. There we go. So that is it. There's not much more else for me to tell you. I just figured it would be pretty on the end of a tag, and like I said, I've been trying to find a way to use my beads with the smaller holes, and this seemed like a perfect way to do it. So like and subscribe. If you guys know of any tools that are like this that you can use instead of a bridge flosser, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.